So this is kind of long overdue and probably sort of a little bit almost pointless at this point in my build, but it will definitely benefit me for the next one. I am going to try and make a jig for this engine. It's just been sat on the floor in my garage for ages. I mean, I spent a little while getting it clean and it's just got really messy again. I've tried to keep it covered, but the dust has got in there and it's just messy. So I have ordered some 2-inch 20mm by 20mm steel tubing. I've taken a couple of measurements off the engine. I'm going to cut this up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it in like a rectangular base with some uprights, and then have a couple of horizontal pieces where the engine mount bolts can go through. That's the plan. I might change it as I go, but that is currently the plan. So what I've done is I've measured out where my first cut needs to be, which is just shy of 15 inches, then maybe 14 3/4 inches. 37.5 centimeters, 375 millimeters. Yeah, so I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut another one. That is going to be my length. So I am going to use my Sawzall for this instead of my angle grinder, mainly because it doesn't make as much mess, and it's already incredibly messy in here. This offcut I'll use for maybe one of the upstands, I reckon. I think I'm actually going to make this square instead of rectangular, so where's my tape measure gone? No. Yeah, I'm going to make it square. I think that'll give it a nicer wide base in all directions to sit on. I was going to make it rectangular and quite tight to the underside of the what are they called? The engine casings, so it sort of sits underneath and sort of nice and tidy, but actually I think it might be better if I just make it big, wide, more stable. Oh, so you can't see this. Every time I use the saw, my ultrasonic cleaner starts vibrating across the workbench, and it's getting closer and closer and closer, and it knocks my phone over, which I'm currently recording on, which is absolutely great. Anyway, almost there. Do one more cut. Now here's a tip. If you don't know this already, when you're measuring things that need to be the same length, and you're cutting like I'm doing here, cutting multiple pieces out of the same initial piece, don't use the ones you've cut as your, what am I trying to say? So let's say you've just cut this one out, You lay it on top of this one, you make your line. You then have to make sure that this is the only one you use as your template. If you cut this one and then you put your newly cut one on top of the next one and you mark your line, any errors that you made in that second cut, you're going to transfer into your third, your fourth, your fifth. So if you do use your first cut piece as a template piece, make sure you mark it or something, say template, because then you know that each one that you cut after that, using it as a reference, is going to be more or less the same. Or you can just measure it each time, which is what I prefer to do. Okay, there's my 4 pieces. Let's get this out of the way. I need to really tidy up. Right, there's my 4. This is going to be my base platform essentially. So they are going to form my square. I'm probably going to, I know it's going to be longer in one direction than the other, unless I overlap them, I guess. I could overlap them like that. And it would be square. I guess I could do that. That wouldn't be too much of an issue. Or I could make it slightly longer in one direction than the other. I might do that. We'll see. I'll measure it out and see what I like the look of. But that's going to be my square. After that, I'm going to measure some uprights, which are going to go roughly sort of here. Another one on this side, and another couple on this side. And these are going to go, let me show you. These are going to go from the base. Well, I've got the engine cover off because I've been messing about with this again. These are going to go from the base up to this point, and I'm then going to put a horizontal piece on here, which will basically act as like a sleeve, I guess, for the mounting bolts to go through. So this is my square. I'm going to get this laid out in an orientation I like it. Then I'm going to just spot weld all the corners and get this tacked up. Well, that is sufficiently tacked in place. I say tacked, I may have gone a little bit overboard. Maybe because I just wanted to make sure it was actually going to hold. I'm still kind of new at welding. I'm planning on doing like a little welding course at the end of next month, just so I've got a better grasp on how to do it. I mean, some of these don't look too bad, but I haven't actually sort of done it properly. Yeah, I've just covered up my explodables. It's basically anything aerosol related that is also flammable, because the spatter from this will burn straight through a can. I've got like an old granite chopping board I don't use anymore, so that becomes my surface which I lay this thing down on. Right, now that I've got those tacked in place, that's looking pretty straight. Not that you'll be able to tell on here, but pretty straight with right angles. I mean, it looks like a rectangle. I'm pretty happy with that. So I am going to get the rest of this welded up. I don't know if I captured any of that. My head was probably in the way. But there we go. That's still kind of hot. Hot. Get magnets up. I mean, the welds don't look too bad. Pretty smoky and probably open the door. Well, yeah, it looks all right. I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they're okay. They're definitely not going to go anywhere. I've welded all 4 sides. Spatter everywhere on that one. Yeah. I mean, it's warped a little bit, but I can probably bend that out. That's not too much of a big deal. Stick it in the vise, just bend that out a bit, and that'll be flat. And then I'm going to take some measurements, do the uprights. Oh, I measured out the distance between the engine mount bits with the bolts. Where are you? Yeah. I've measured out the distance between where the engine bolts mount through. And then what I've done is I've pretty much marked the inside of where these guys need to go. Now, I've left a little bit of a tolerance just so I can easily get the engine in there when it's you know, about to be mounted. So that's the plan. So I'm going to get this welded up now, and then I'll move on to the 2 that I marked up at the back. There we are then. Hot. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I think I've said that already. I mean, these welds are pretty ugly. I always knew that was going to be the case. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. So yeah, the next step really is I need to drill some holes through here, and then drill some holes through here, and then essentially put the motor in and see if it fits. It should fit. I've left a fair bit of tolerance, but yeah, file these edges down. These are pretty sharp. But yeah, that's is it perfect? No. Will it get my engine off the floor? Yeah. So I'm happy with that. Realised I was just talking to myself for ages without actually pressing record. Yeah, basically what I was saying is I've got 2 10mm drill bits and the stepped drill bit. Now, they were sharp until I tried to widen the hole on these bolt-on seat kit brackets. Whatever material they're made of, they are tough. So it blunted all 3 of them. So I've basically had to drill all these holes with essentially a blunt drill bit. Yeah, not great. But anyway, it's done now. So I'm just going to actually test this thing and see if it sits in here. I'll be pretty sad if it doesn't, but it's not the end of the world. I can always move these things over, angle grind them off or whatever. So yeah, let's see if it fits. So here we go, incredibly long overdue, but there we go. The engine is finally off the ground. I mean, it's not perfect. All I've done is I've stuck some 10mm bolts through here. Originally I was planning to use the original engine mount bolts, but I don't want to do that. I've got some little 10mm bolts. They could probably do with being a little bit longer. These are only really short, probably about 40mm, something like that. This one's a bit longer. This one, well, this one's quite a lot longer. I could probably do with 3 more of these, to be fair. This one's a bit short. I might swap these over. But this needs bending out a little bit. It's slightly too far in, as you can sort of see here. It still goes in, but I'd prefer it if it was just slightly out a bit more. So I might sort that out another time, but it's getting a bit late now. I'm pretty happy with where this is. It's very sturdy. Obviously it'd be much more sturdy if I had longer bolts, just to give it a bit more peace of mind, but it's off the ground. It's not going to fall over randomly. It's no longer sitting on a little tiny piece of wood. I'm pretty pleased. Given my lackluster welding skills, pretty pleased with how this has turned out. Yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Very short, but yeah, this this is going to help me no end in the future when I come to doing this bike. So yeah, pretty happy. See you guys later.